G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller, and today I want to talk to you about one way you can deal with horses spooking. And a lot of times when horses spook, they don't just spook out of nowhere. They get a little bit distracted, a bit tense, and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and then they have this big old explosion. And the key to stopping that from happening is being aware when the very first thing starts to build. And so this horse right here, recently he got a little bit worried about this corner of the arena because our neighbours have some roping cattle they've just put behind there, and you can see through the cracks in the boards, and he spied them through there one day and got a little bit concerned about it. So what I've been doing with him is I'll walk down this fence, and when he gets down here towards the spooky area and I feel him starting to build a little bit of energy inside, like his ears prick and he builds a bit of energy, I'm going to steer him away from the scary thing, which would be the fence, and I'm going to steer him until his inside ears, so the place I'm steering to, that ear flicks back towards me. When that ear flicks, I'll let go, walk him away, do a bit of a turnaround, come back and try it again, and it really diffuses the situation. A lot of times you'll steer him away from there, and you may steer him away from there and stop for a minute, and they'll have a lick and a chew, and that lick and chew tells you they're returning back to the parasympathetic nervous system from being in the sympathetic nervous system just very slightly. So I've done that with him quite a bit along here, and once I did that quite a bit, then I got to the point where he was a lot more relaxed and almost not building that much tension like he had before. He was just a little bit interested or concerned, but not really with a lot of tension. So then all I do is stop and ask him to either stop and take a step backwards or just stop until these ears flick towards me. So I didn't even have to circle him away from the fence then. And then after a while, when that bit got good, all I had to almost do was a little half halt. You know, sometimes I'd do a downward transition to a walk and then walking forward into that, or maybe even just keep going at the walk. But you know, the half halt is not the answer to it if you cannot easily get their attention and you haven't gotten rid of that build-up of tension. But that's one way you can go about working on horses that spook at things. And I must stress that it's something you want to work on in a controlled situation like this. This is not, you know, don't try to work on this out on the trail or in a spooky situation on the trail when you haven't worked on it in a situation that's totally under your control. One of the big rules of training is they need to know the answer before you ask the question, and you really need to be prepared for situations before situations arise. The other day I heard a great quote that the Navy SEALs use about when they get into situations, and they say, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. And so I think trail riding is the same thing. When you're out there and things start going wrong, you don't just all of a sudden become good at solving big problems. You sink to the level of your preparation. So that's something to remember for trail riding, and another way of looking at horses when they spook.